Welcome to Crypto Disrupted, a cryptocurrency and blockchain podcast with your hosts, Trent Lipinski and Greg Kerr.
All right, and welcome back to Crypto Disrupted. We're here today with Stephen Cutter from Wuji. He's a friend of mine that we've been going back and forth on ideas and contacts throughout the energy space. And he's doing some really disruptive stuff and has this network that's just really been awing me in the energy and the blockchain space. So thanks for coming on and give us a little bit of background about yourself and tell us where you're coming from, man.
Great. My name's Stephen. I currently hail from Chicagoland. I've never, prior in my life, I was not interested in the renewable energy space or sustainability. I've always been kind of a rebel and did things my own way, but I had a kid at a young age, so I never really had the time to think about the bigger problems that the world had. And I did things from real estate to also having a business in the oil and gas industry for about 5 years. And it wasn't until I sold off the company about in 2011 and moved back to Chicago where I really had some time to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And it kind of started with me and my kids. I made them watch a nature documentary before they could watch a cartoon. And then I realized there's this whole big world out there I knew nothing about. And that inspired me to learn more and to read. And it's kind of, for about 2 years, I really just consumed all the problems. Like, what's wrong with the world? And then I've been thinking of creative ways to come up with solutions. And I think all the different energy things that are coming into play and the different technological advances they're all great. I think technology is an extension of our human intellect, but it's really the human's mindset, I think, that needs to be shifted towards every action we make can be a positive action. And to convince the corporations and authorities to get on board with that is kind of what I've been trying to get. It's a movement, towards a harmonious planet. So,
so tell us about your community. So what are the actions? So you're pretty in depth in this. You've started. Yeah. Go into that.
So Wuji, for me, it's limitless solutions. Wuji's a social impact rideshare company. That's a public benefit corp. And our goal is to make a positive impact with every ride we give. So 5% of every ride is going to go towards environmental issues and sustainability initiatives in communities. The drivers own equity in the business. There is a residual income factor. So anyone that wants to promote our sustainable initiatives through their network, any download they get from their promo code, they'll get a residual income from every ride taken. So we're trying to create lasting partnerships in this collaborative impact space. And within that, we got into, renewable energies, talking with RenewCoin. Also, I have some solar partners with Tribal Energy and some hydropower with Tesla Sustainable Villages. And, looking to bring multiple solutions to each community we enter. And if we can make micro impacts on each individual ride, I think they can vibrate throughout the rest of people's day and make a lasting positive change.
That's so interesting. So when you have Uber and Lyft, there will be basically this option that's kind of the social impact option.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those, like, if you have the choice, then why not do it where you're giving back at a certain spot? So yeah, that's kind of industry, kind of setting a new bar in an industry to say, hey, look, we're being transparent on where our money's going and what your commerce is actually going toward.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
And tell us too about the community you're living in.
So one of the first things I got into when I looked into these problems was a solution that we needed to have sustainable housing. We need a more close connection to our food source and to live off grid as much as possible. So I have a carpentry background and I learned some gardening skills over the years. And I just moved out to the village an hour and a half outside of Chicagoland where we have 15 acres. The man who built out this property built it because he took a 3-year sailing trip, and he had a spiritual journey through the trip. He was, navigated by the stars, moved by the wind, fished every day for his food. And he wanted to create an environment where people could experience that without going on a sailing trip. So it's got a lot of built up intention into the place. And we're taking it over. And there's 22,000 trees he planted on the property, mainly cedars and spruces and pines. And we have 15 lots we can build sustainable natural homes on. We have 7 acres we can grow our own food on, and 2 retreat centers where we can house around 40 people to house retreats around sustainability, mindfulness, and imagine like a co-work live space accelerator in nature. So we want to welcome people to come out there and live and be in nature. And when we can all live very affordably and cheaply, then we can focus on our passions and how we can give back to the environment and humanity. So this is supposed to be like a template of how we can all live together. And even the time, I think time is our main form of currency. There's a lot of new blockchain and new forms of ideas around currency, but it all breaks down to time. Time's our main form of exchange. And so even if you guys want to come out and work a week on the property, part of the work you would commit would go towards your housing and your food, but the other part will go towards equity in the property. So we want equal ownership opportunities and to have everyone's time be valued.
Oh, that's okay. So yeah, so first, I kind of want to recap because that's one of the things I like about you is this migration from oil and gas industry, becoming a little bit more conscious about what your impact and role in the world and universe is, and then you've kind of shifted all the way over, sold off your company, and kind of dove into this, practicing what you preach by living sustainably, and kind of going into and disrupting systems to be more conscious and sustainable in the way they operate. And now you're living in this community where you guys live off the land, you produce your own energy, and you're also working within the blockchain and cryptocurrencies to start incentivizing healthy behavior and create a new society and culture within that value system. So you guys have like coins for like planting trees. And go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
So that kind of happened recently. One of my partners is involved with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and she got invited to the World Economic Forum this last January. And she decided 5 weeks before the event she wanted to put on a hackathon. So she asked me if I wanted to be a part of the hackathon. And I said, "What am I going to hack for?" She's like, "Figure it out." And so I got my team on 3 rounds of calls, and I wanted to build something that Wuji, the rideshare, could use. I didn't want to go kind of off topic. And the first idea was a video game where a simulator similar to like SimCity, where it would be planting a forest, and the players would be educated about the ecosystems within the forest and the benefits of all the things. And by playing the game, it would actually contribute towards planting trees. So the idea was to combine gamification into real life actions. From that initial idea, we said, well, what if we can just plant trees and put it on the blockchain and give people value in the form of natural capital accounting. Natural capital accounting has been put on by the World Bank for about 12 years. And there's like 3 other groups that are working on it, WAVES and SEEA. And it basically states that there's a value on the living economy. So trees provide oxygen that we all breathe. They sequester carbon. They create biodiversity. They purify the water, build up the soil's retention, and cool down our earth. All of these things are, I think, very valuable. So the platform we created is quite simply, if you planted a tree, Greg, and you put the GPS location, the type, the date, age of the tree, and you upload it to our platform, you'd have proof of action. This is our new protocol we defined. Proof of action. You can prove that you did something. Anyone can go to that location and verify that it's there. And then you can earn rewards from the trees you plant. So we've been talking with some of the largest tree planting companies in the world, Eden Projects, We Forest, I Am Alive and Awake, and Tree Sisters, about implementing this platform within their actions they're already doing. So we're going to be piloting this out within the next couple of months. And the idea is that by the actions they're already doing, planting trees, as long as we can have proper accounting and record that the trees are planted, they can earn lasting abundance from the tree's natural capital that it provides. So the actions that they're already doing will provide them all the funding they need to plant more trees. And then the idea is to create a whole economy out of regenerating the earth.
Yeah, so that's one of the beauties of, I've been writing this a lot in our, as I told you, we were rewriting some of our corporate doctrine, and saying that like the biggest proof that Bitcoin made was that you can assign value to anything. And in that case point, they assign value to computer labor and an algorithm. Now you've done it to a human behavior that's beneficial to everybody and saves trees. I think it's going to be one of those things that your great grandkids may have to have interpretation when they watch old movies to kind of say, oh yeah, there used to be this monetary system based on your proximity to gold. Oh, like metal, like in the ground? Like, yeah. And everybody just measured their proximity to that. They're like, why? I don't know. It's stupid. But I like how you're taking this, I see something of value and we can digitize and represent that value in a digital format and then give everybody on the planet access to that.
Yeah.
I just wrote a paper on Hacker Noon talking about how a universal basic income isn't going to look like a big welfare program. Everybody gets excited about that, but it could be, just value being more accessible to everyone. We talked on the show with a guy who's got, can capture all your personal data and then you can manage it and sell it. Like, oh, well, there's something everybody can get to under our system. The digestive system could be used as monetary system in a waste to energy scenario. And then this too, if you could quickly, any villager on the planet could start harvesting seeds, understanding their biosphere, and start planting and proving it because devices are ubiquitous, and they could start earning income that way. And once again, it's a global benefit. So that's really interesting. So you guys have this coin already, or?
So the platform is just about finished. We have about a month more of development. We're looking to pilot it with 2 companies. One is Eden Projects. They do mangrove forests. They do 3 different species of mangrove forest. So it'd be the easiest to get the metrics on their system. It's not 100 different types of trees. It's one type of tree. So I think it would be a great pilot program. And then we're working with I Am Alive and Awake. They do tree planting kits and music kits for children here in the United States. And we're looking to work with them to get this in the hands of kids and see how they can, and hopefully we don't have to wait till our great grandkids. Hopefully it'll be the next generation of kids that can say, hey, there's a system in place where I can do something towards the planet, the health of our biosphere, and earn money for improving it. And I mean, there's a nature deficit disorder with kids. Kids on average spend like 6 hours a day in front of screens, and even their playgrounds are all in synthetic, tires and rubbers and metals. So even when they're outdoors, they're really still on a non-natural station. So I think
the jam bark, man.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was like the playgrounds were made of wood. Those awful metal slides where like you'd go down it when it was like, the sun was hitting it and it like just totally burned you on the way down. And you land in the tan bark and, it was made of actual wood and you'd get splinters. And now it's like they make the playgrounds out of old tires.
Yeah.
And, synthetic metals and plastics. And like, I look at the playgrounds now and I'm like, you can't even identify some of the items there. It's just like a giant plastic wall. It's like, how do you even play with that? So it's crazy. But, and I was going to ask, so you went to this hackathon, right? And you had to like jump into the world of crypto, basically. Did you know crypto before that? Did you understand blockchain before that? Or can you kind of like go into, what role the blockchain's really playing?
Yeah, so I've been aware of the blockchain space for a while. I try to keep my hand on the pulse of the future, if you don't know what's out there, you never know what you can work with. So I got heavily into blockchain about a year ago. While my partner with UN Sustainable Development Goals put on a conference last spring for the future of humanity. And I kind of got really involved with it when I met a guy with the Earth Dollar. This is another, you guys should have him on your show soon. David Cam, they have 40 million acres of native and sovereign lands backing the currency, and which is valued at roughly 3.2 trillion euros. And so they are looking, I was informed of natural capital accounting when I met the Earth Dollar. And they had land pledged to back the currency with this form. And so I partnered with the Earth Dollar as one of their rideshare partners. And then from that, my blockchain kind of dove in deep. I have a handful of partners that are in the blockchain space. And I think blockchain can be great. It can be used to really track and monitor things very well. It's a very good accounting system. And even give people ownership to their data, I think, is very important. But I feel like there's a lot of people in the space that just want to blockchain everything to try to capitalize on the wave. And I want to make sure I'm not just creating another financial tool for people to speculate on and for markets to buy into. And part of even the tree coin that we're going to be launching is that a token's only generated once a tree's planted. So the action has to be done, a physical action has to be done towards the improvement of the planet before a coin is generated. So we want to create systems like that positive work. And it doesn't, we start with tree planting because it's a tangible one, but it can be going towards cleaning up rivers. You know, a polluted river is not worth anything, but a clean river is very valuable. So we can do the same thing with oceans. I have a partner I'm working with at the Ocean Fund. They're looking to protect fisheries and remove plastics from oceans. So I kind of dove into the blockchain space for the last year and developed a handful of partners, and I'm still learning. There's still a lot of room in this space, but we really want to make sure we're creating systems that benefit the environment and the people, and not just create monetization systems for people to speculate on.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're seeing is like, and it's almost natural. On some levels, I've seen people use, ICOs and things like that, and they're pretty honest about it. Like, hey, this is a new way to raise money, and we want to just raise money. We're not trying to redefine anything, And so you kind of get that. But then there's people that are looking at the technology to see how you can bring in this oblique approach to problem solving, and that's where you're going to see kind of like the more disruptive companies and the people that will be relevant in the next economy. I was going to say a lot of this, like you've been talking about, the blockchain allows us to create a lot of data based on what the activity it is that we're doing. So there's going to be an element to even what you're doing with the tree coin on monitoring and evaluation. So you'll be creating new data, like new environmental economic data. That I like this mangroves kind of the mangrove project, because those are something that are completely like globally being like totally destroyed. So any like measure of impact should be pretty easy to detect. If you create an economy around one of these things and the thing starts growing, and that in itself will be interesting, because then you say, hey, we can start growing economies and creating value, and absolutely document and evaluate and measure the change that you're implementing. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, one of the future kind of ideas with this too is that the data we collect for environmental issues can be very valuable. So even with like travelers that are going to visit national parks or remote areas, we could ask them to take pictures of certain species of plants or trees, or to record micro data and submit to the platform, and then we get this metadata on the health of the forest. Even it could help identify like potential threats. The emerald ash borer is one of them that came through the United States and is killing all the ash trees. If they would have been identified at its early infancy stage, that there was a non-invasive species or an invasive species that came into our environment, we would be able to detect it right away and eradicate it. So kind of the idea is that we can make everybody an environmentalist by taking photos and recording data on the local environments, and sharing that information with people doing studies on our forests, on our waterways, on as many things we can
Man, you should look into it. Maybe we could connect you with some like machine learning and AI guys.
Yeah.
That's where you're at that level where you're talking about that much data and not having it up to humans to analyze, but put machines to the task. And that's a good application where everybody's so afraid of Skynet. Oh, AI is going to kill us all. No, AI is going to save us all. These problems are so complex that we need machine assistance to help our thinking and direct our actions. And that's one of the things that these economies you're creating is creating data that a machine can look at and aggregate with the data we create and all this big data that's going to be coming in with the blockchain. That'd be great. We just recruited a brilliant data scientist, and she's really opening my eyes.
Nice.
To what the capabilities are out there. Stephen, even I wanted to tell you, Stephen connected us with a company that creates railroad ties out of plastics, out of garbage. And in these ties, it harvests the energy of the trains going over it. And so, and they put like little solar panels. So this infrastructure can create energy. And then I started telling him, I was like, I wonder if you could just put a little mini microprocessors in there. And then maybe you could bring, internet and hosting to remote areas through railroad infrastructure. And just like, boom, because that's going to be one of these indicators. Like now that we have more IoT devices, if we can make that major infrastructure an IoT device, we could start using it to use computations and push it into rural areas. It brings a new utility to those lines. I mean, that's what the railroads do. It brings people and information. And if we can have it bring the internet, people would be another function of that.
Yeah.
Really cool.
That'd be great.
We just interviewed someone who works at Wright Mesh. They build mesh networks. So, we're at a point right now where all those science fiction concepts that, we read about and saw in movies and stuff when we were kids, I mean, it's a reality now. And the blockchain and, AI and these new technologies, I mean, they're enabling this so that we can make these things a reality, and we can take all of this data that's been going into silos and centralized systems and actually do something with it now. So, now we're at the forefront where finally, we don't have giant computers in a room anymore, and we're able to take advantage of the computing power in front of us, because people don't realize how powerful even their cell phones are. I mean, our cell phones are so powerful. They've got supercomputer capacity compared to where we were even just 10 years ago. And we're not leveraging it. We're looking at pictures of cats on the internet instead of, processing data to save the world. And, now we can create solutions to start to process some of that data.
Yeah, no, I like to make that analogy too with the kittens. There's too many kitten videos. There's not enough people that are well informed. And the power of our technology, I think, can be used for great things. But I think some of the forces that have used it for a distraction method to keep us consumers. And I think people are sick of that story. We need all these things to be happy. We need this social status in order to be successful. More and more people that I talk to, that they're looking for something that actually has substance, something that does something better for not just themselves. So kind of the way I look at it is the Renaissance age was sparked by the printing press, the transformation of information. And now we have the ultimate printing press at the palm of our fingers. We can have access to any book, any article, any image. You can go in a 3D visual world and experience caves in South America if you want to. So there's really no limit to, I think, what the human intellect can do. A well-informed, collected group that are all working towards similar solutions. So I'm always one of my best friends calls me an insane optimist, and I like that. I'm aware of the problems, but I don't think there's any problem that humans can't solve.
No, absolutely. And you're in good company because, there is an optimism, despite knowing all the bad in the world. We're not naive, but you just kind of see that there are tools out there and that humanity has always kind of engineered a solution. And it feels good to be talking to people that I feel are doing that. And you're one of those. So I really appreciate what you're doing. And give us real quick, actually, I don't think we said the name of your tree coin, or is it just called tree coin?
We're calling it Wuji Karma right now.
Okay.
We haven't really defined a name yet. So, like I said, this has all happened within the last 2 months, and we're just working on finishing the platform within the next month, and then do some beta testing with the tree planting partners. And then really we're working on getting the idea is that this platform can be a reward system for any business too. A lot of companies are focusing on sustainability. So they could even incorporate planting a tree with their goods and services sold. And then it's going to be a nonprofit. So even if they contribute to planting trees through the platform, they can write it off as their tax benefit. And then their members and the corporations can earn rewards in these natural capital assets towards positive impact. So we want to build it out so everyone can use it for a reward system to take care of the earth. So it's a very inclusive model.
No, that's good. And that would be interesting. Yeah, you have to show the IRS your Wuji wallet to tell them, hey, take it off. I planted trees and under good rules. This is proof that I've done that. That's interesting. That'll be fun to come out and see the first taxes paid for doing some kind of, or taxes unpaid for doing through the blockchain. So. Well, hey, tell us real quick how people can get a hold of you.
Best way is by phone. I love talking to people one-on-one. So I'll give out my number. It's probably not a traditional way. But 815-274-6777. And my email is Stephen with a PH, STEPHEN at RideWuji, RIDE, Wuji.com. And then all our social media tags are RideWuji as well. And then the website is RideWuji.com. So those are the 4 main ways you can get a hold of me.
Well, great, man. Well, thanks. And we appreciate your work and we appreciate you coming on the show.
All right. Thanks, man. Peace.
All right,
Thanks for coming on.